David came to the seminary as a teenager. He was full of life. He was quite a remarkable, likable young man. Spoke a little broken English, but not a lot. And after a while of going to seminary, became serious about his studies. He'd been serious about the faith, but became serious about his studies. And he took a class from Dr. Dan Dunn on methods of evangelism. And one of the things Dan stressed in the class is everyone does not have the same gift of evangelism. Not all people have the gift of evangelism, but we're all called to do evangelism. So he encouraged David and the other members of his class to discover a method of evangelism that will work for them. So David decided that he would use a particular method that Dan had described, and on a Saturday went to the local hospital to visit the people who were waiting in the hospital. You need to understand that in Venezuela, hospitals don't have waiting rooms. They don't provide food for the patients. And so family members typically will camp out, as it were, in the parking lot or on the streets and the parks around the hospital. So on any given day, there'll be 100 or 200 people surrounding a hospital where their loved ones are receiving the most basic of care, and depending upon them to bring them food, linens, medicines, that sort of thing. So on a Saturday, David went to the hospital to visit with the folks in the parking lot, intent to experiment with a method of evangelism that Dan had taught. He started engaging with the people. He discovered that he had a real gift for evangelism, that the method that he had learned from Dan seemed to be working pretty well, and reported in the next class that that day he led 150 people to Christ. We affirm that he might have discovered an effective method of evangelism for himself. He continues to work in the seminary, doing excellent academic work, but now he's preaching as an evangelist and winning people to Christ around Venezuela. We see great things in store for this young man. He's now in his early 20s, and if God grants him a normal life, he will for 50 years or more be faithful in leading that nation and perhaps the world to Jesus Christ.